IG tries to continue the fight. They are going to be 4 versus 5. But the Shy goes on a killing spree and gets himself out! No way!
The Shy, I would say, has looked to cut above every single top laner.
This is a guy who's becoming a household name.
He's just a transcending top laner. People could confidently say that he's the best player in the world. Confident, the best player in the world.
I can't be scarred. You are, get out my way. I gotta be, like I'm not. One on the top, you been there before. You know what I did? I'm on my job, I'm doing my thing. I'm just like boy, do it again.
If an enemy come, he just dodge to gang, or just kill the enemy. Make enemy scared to gang.
Flash to try and set up the straight line skill shot. Red Lash above the Shy, outplays it, and then Ning just able to play cleanup.
Talking to the EU pros, I mean, the stories that they tell about playing versus the Shy are like literal nightmare fuel.
Pretty much every matchup he knows, just plays to his limits really well.
Shut down on the Ning will not mean much when Invictus Gaming is diving deep into the base, and it is an ace!
Just look at those angles from the Shy.
I think the Shy, just like, probably one of the best players at living in the chaos.
These insane carry top laners are looking onto him to see if they can topple him.
You make a normal tier list, and then you make 4 when you're facing the Shy. We can't give him Jace, we can't give him this.
Which one do you give him?
I mean, ideally you can ban 20 carries.
You know what I did? I'm on my job, I'm doing my thing. I'm just like boy.
All right, here we go.
They said whatever, and now I'm talking, you should score. I'm going in.
还是真的是可以一个打穿5个的感觉，一个追着5个跑。
좋은 선수라고 사람들에게 불리게 됐는데 좀 그것에 대해서 제가 보통 압박감 안 느끼는 편인데 이제 조금 관심이 많아지시고 좀 더 경기를 잘하는 모습을 보여주다 보니까 좀 압박감을 좀 느끼기 시작했고 지금 MSI가 중요한 무대가 될 것 같아요 저희한테.
跟他最好的表现的话来说的话，就是还差一点，就现在他状态还不是最好的状态。
Welcome back to MSI 2019 and a tournament that has been defined by flex picks, by crazy unique champion pools. We're about to have G2 take on the undefeated Invictus Gaming, but I wanted to take my crack at presenting the dream composition for G2 if they're going to somehow usurp this powerhouse. So the first thing that I want people to notice is that this isn't a crazy composition. This is actually quite standard. Now let's just go lane by lane, starting with the top. It's Aurelia for Wonder. Now the key thing is this guy is the best Aurelia player in this tournament. And what's interesting about Aurelia is how she diversifies the damage portfolios. Normally you see a lot of compositions being double AP, which then requires the jungler to be that AD Jarvan or something like a Rek'Sai. By taking the Aurelia, G2 are then also unable to unlock Jankos on a comfort pick like Elise. And he doesn't just have the Elise, he other has AP junglers like the Karthus. Moving into the mid lane, it's Ryze. Yes, Wonder can play the Ryze, but Caps is my favorite Ryze player for this team because of how he utilizes side lanes. The ability to use Realm Warp and to play and eat up the map is why G2's mid game is so potent and proficient, which finally leads me to their dual lane in Xayah and Rakan. I kind of went back and forth with this and I was like, you could probably do a Kai'Sa or a Galio because the two main pieces are that you need to have engage potential like the Rakan and you need to have follow-up CC. Now, Xayah gives that a bit more and I think that Perkz and Mickey have been not having the greatest tournament from time to time. Xayah and Rakan are a very solid 2v2 that allows them to play aggressive, but can shore up some of those over-aggressive instances where they have been caught out. That said, this is going to be Invictus Gaming on blue, or G2 on blue side. So how G2 even managed to get that composition of a Ryze, of an Aurelia, I don't think IG's going to give it to them.
Okay, so there's the rub, right? They may not be able to solidify this exact composition, but I think I want to hone in on some of the key aspects of this composition that might make G2 successful in this game.
Yeah, I love personally the Xayah and Rakan for the exact point of like having the strength in the side lane, but also the ability to really bait out a lot of jungle attention, the extra safetiness that Rakan has, being able to just like play a little pressure, and then just whisk away back to your Xayah. So I would love to see this comp in action.
My only concern, though, is the power spike. So Xayah being a 3-item champion versus a 2-item, which seems to dominate this tournament, which is, again, why I was kind of bringing up names like the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I do also like how you added an early game jungler like Elise for Jankos here, because so much is going to be about early jungle attention towards these solo lanes that are going to be testing their limits versus each other. I know, Wonder was even tweeting out like 20 minutes ago how much he's looking forward to playing against the Shy and how he wants more fighting than he had in the last game. So if there's going to be these solo laners that have such high skill ceilings, fighting and trading that much with flex picks, you have to have an early game jungler that's going to answer Ning, because Ning is definitely going to get in there and turn the tide.
During the countdown, we brought up the fact that throughout this tournament, coming into it, and here so far in the group stage, it has been a conversation about the G2 solo laners, and that the guy who's kind of gone unsung up to this point was Jankos. He has to be the one to put those solo laners or help them get into advantageous positions. So again, the idea of the Elise having that early game power that might put them over the edge.
And the thing is it doesn't have to be the Elise. Like, I don't expect these champions to come out, but it's taking the core ideas of what these champions allow G2 to do, which is to split up the map, to split up fights, so that if it is a 5v5, you've got maybe a 2v2 on the top side, maybe a 1v1 on the bottom side of all team members being grouped up. And again, the Karthus and the Elise. I think these picks are so unique to G2 because people are running out of jungle options when that champion pool gets pinched. That's why we've seen so much Xin Zhao running around. It's because once you take Rek'Sai and Jarvan, because of the double AP, where else do you start to grab?
And it doesn't even have to be one of the early game duelists, independent junglers. We just saw earlier today a Sejuani used in conjunction with 2 melee assassins.
Yeah.
Yes, Sejuani, in a 1v1, not that threatening, right? But if you do have Aurelia and Akali, both of them stack up the passive very quickly, that 2v2 is very strong.
And just moving on to this game, because I think one of the biggest aspects of that composition is going to be in the fact that what Ryze and Elise gives you is the fact that you can move from lane to lane once you have push inside lane, especially once you have Realm Warp. And one of the greatest aspects of G2's game in this tournament has been, having Caps shove out and going alongside Jankos to help out Wonder at times, go to the bottom side and others. Really, if you're going up against G2 and Invictus Gaming, one thing they need to really be aware of is where Caps is on the map at all times, so the Shy doesn't become a victim to these 3v1 dives.
Now, Rakan for Mickey, that's a pick that I love just because, again, the idea of the trigger pull for G2. You're staring across the rift at another team who's just as willing to pull the trigger, but making sure you have that impactful, team fight starting ultimate and engage tool, I think, will be crucial for G2.
I'm almost terrified that, because this draft can go 10 million different ways. If I had to try to predict what's going to happen in this, it's probably going to be different every single time. A single ban will dramatically change it. I would hate to see the Tahm Kench come out for G2, however, because I do think it takes away so much from their team fighting. Invictus Gaming are going to try to fight you, and while Tahm Kench then makes sense that you can try to disengage, Mickey is so much stronger a player when he is also engaging. So fight fire with fire, go toe-to-toe with IG, and make sure that you are also bringing your own arsenal of engage tools.
I did also like the Morgana look, adding the black shield onto these diving solo laners.
Yeah.
It's just so many ways that they can go with it,
At the end of the day, I love myself, coming from the LPL, like Mako's, Tahm Kench. Whenever you see those, you usually envision the semi-globals to the fight. So if you do bring in a Tahm Kench, certainly utilize it so you can get your shoving side lanes, and then you match Invictus Gaming in these fights.
I just think it's so scary to try to take Tahm Kench and play a side lane against someone like IG, who are so rapid and collapsing on you.
I do want to talk too then about IG, because obviously, we've crafted this discussion around, G2 perhaps handing IG their first loss, but I think we also have to recognize that IG is going to come out in full force trying to ensure that that does not happen. By looking at the current standings, I would assume IG looks at G2 as their foremost competition when moving towards those best of fives, and this is going to be your last opportunity to go up against them on the main stage before perhaps maybe a finals meeting in a best of five.
100%. If we see Invictus Gaming lose out or pick something questionable, we can't give them the same excuse we have to other opponents where, Ning came out and made that interview and point of us saying, when we go up against weaker teams, like teams they think that they can play anything and still come out with a lead, much like that Flash Rolls game, then they, go a little wild. I think they see G2 somewhat near as equals. I know the games have been kind of wild the last time we saw it. I'm expecting IG to play to their fullest.
I can also see them trying to test, because like you're talking about, this is one of the last chances they have to gain information on each other.
Yes.
If the group does play out as we expected, then Invictus Gaming and G2 are probably going to meet up in the finals, so they wouldn't be scrimming each other anytime soon, and this would be one of the very last chances that they have to test out something versus the other opponent.
This actually feels like probably the first time in MSI groups where I'm watching all the games and I'm not getting as much information as I would like. You know, there's not as many definitive statements, I think. You watch SKT get slammed in 16 minutes, and I'm not ready to be like, yes, in SKT, they're nothing in this tournament. Like, you're still scared about that best of 5. I watched G2 versus IG the first time around and the disastrous Vayne pick. I'm not ready to completely write off G2. Like, IG are scary, but I still don't really have a good grasp on like how scary they are because in the way that they're winning. I feel like I actually need the best of 5 and like a fuller